Hey, so since we don't own a car here, one of our viewers asked, like, how do you guys get groceries? Like, isn't it a hassle to carry lots of stuff back without a car? And the answer is no, it's not a hassle at all. There are many very convenient grocery stores. I think the closest is probably a minute or two walk from our front door, and we'll take you there first, but that's kind of a small store. So then we'll take you to a larger one where we do most of our shopping, and that's a 15-minute walk. So let's go. So we're taking the elevator now. So here we have our mailboxes. So we've arrived. This, unlike 7-Eleven in the States, the ones here have a lot of healthy food options, including Japanese rice balls, onigiri, which is one of our favorite late night snacks.
The 7-Eleven and every convenience store, frankly, also has a very functional copy center. Usually one or two machines they do copying, they do scanning, they do printing. They're very easy, simple to use, and pretty cheap, and they always work. Sergey has had a lot of experiences in the States going to Staples or Office Depot when the machine was either unusable because it was broken or just too complicated to use. And here it's the exact opposite, and it's in every convenience store.
So we're back at our front door here, and we will now show you the walk to a larger, better grocery store, which is where we do most of our shopping. They have not just food, but other household supplies, toilet paper, cleaning supplies, clothing, stuff for your bed, like sheets and blankets and all sorts of stuff. So this is a 15-minute walk or so come with me. Also, even the locals jaywalk quite a bit when the streets are not busy. It's nice to be in a place where pedestrians are given priority over cars by the norms and the culture. Oh, here you see the fire and ambulance station that has been an occasional source of noise. So Family Mart is another of those major chains of small stores. There are a bunch within a short walk. They're also quite nice. Oh, this here you just saw is a small store selling fresh fruits and vegetables mostly. It's quite nice, but not cheap. Fresh fruits and vegetables are very expensive here in general.
So that was an example of us walking to the store. If you're wondering, how do we get back like giant packs of water that we can drink at home? Well, we don't get giant packs of water. We opted to go with a Brita filter. So all we have to do is get filter replacements. Clean water that way. We don't really bring back anything particularly heavy. We don't need to right now. For people who buy more groceries, I've actually seen people bring in rolling luggage. Locals bringing in rolling luggage and loading up their groceries in that and taking it that way. Just people get around here by and large without cars. I mean, there are plenty of cars in the streets, but most people are not using them. Most people are using public transportation or walking. And there's so many grocery stores nearby, it's feasible. Sergey noted that even the large bags of rice that are available here are smaller than the bags that you'll see in a Japanese grocery store in the US. Well, if you think about it, the US is designed for cars. Tokyo is not as designed for cars, so everything comes smaller in units, easier to carry. Most things are just designed around that concept. Of course, there's furniture, especially, like our IKEA furniture, all that stuff will come by delivery truck. You do pay a fee to get it delivered, but you can have many things that you can't walk off with, generally are deliverable for not very much, actually. So that is bringing things back from the grocery store without a car. Heck, while I have you here, how about we talk a little bit about pedestrian life in Tokyo. Pedestrians are definitely the first-class citizens around here. Cars are like third class, bikes are like second class. But bikes and pedestrians rule, basically. It feels kind of like New York, but without the anger. And again, the cars don't even have as much right. Jaywalking, there's always the rules as written, and then there's the rules as followed. And I was very paranoid about the rules as written, which are, of course, no jaywalking, ever. And then Sergey points out all around me, it's like, hey, do you see what the locals are doing? And I'm like, but the rules. But eventually you do get a feel for when it's okay to cross the street, whether or not there's a light, whether or not there's a crosswalk. There's a lot of really small, narrow streets that are, they're not one way, but they're narrow enough to almost they look like one way. They'd be one way for our US cars, which are very wide. Cars in Japan are much narrower, so that's not a one-way street for them. And those streets, if you look both ways and nobody's coming, and more often than not, nobody is coming, you could just dart across very, very easily, very quickly, very safely. But frankly, even if you're not, because that's what everybody's doing quite a bit, the cars are watching. They're watching like mad for who is there, who might be crossing, who's like standing on the corner thinking about crossing. Like it seems like the cars are really paranoid about it, more than like people being paranoid about cars. Of course, you never jaywalk at a major intersection, no matter how clear it looks. But major intersections are not as common, as you really cross way more of those little streets than you do of major intersections around here. So the other thing you really have to get used to is the bikes. The bikes are sometimes on the road and sometimes on the sidewalks, and they are also watching you. And they will miss you by that much. And you just need to not act erratically. If you act erratically, it actually heightens the chance that one of them's gonna hit you. I've not been hit. They're very good. But if you're scared about watching them come at you, your better bet is actually to freeze and let them go around you. But generally speaking, if you start to get a sense of the flow of traffic, of pedestrian traffic on the sidewalk, and generally speaking, if you follow that flow that you start to get a sense for over time, you're just never going to have a problem with bikes. You and the bike will pass each other amicably, again, by about that much, and it will be fine. But it definitely takes getting used to have the bikes just like from both directions coming and going, and not really knowing what side of the sidewalk you need to be on. It just kind of, you pay attention to where the general flow is, and sometimes it'll be on that side and sometimes it'll be on that side, and you just kind of have to dance in the flow and figure it out. So that's a little bit about being a pedestrian in Tokyo, which relates to the walk we had.